Whole Story Quest Audiobooks presents The Calico Cat by Amanda James. Narrated by Imogen Comrie. Chapter 1. A Good While Ago. When I was 11 years old, I asked my mother if I could have a calico cat. Perhaps it wasn't the best time to ask, as she was late for work, hobbling around the kitchen, one foot in a Wellington boot, the other in a court shoe. She looked at me as if I'd asked her to explain the origin of the universe, pre-Big Bang, and without the inclusion of God. A furrow creased her forehead, and clouds of irritation chased across her eyes. I thought she was going to say no to the cat request, but instead she said, "Have you seen my other shoe?" and kicked the Wellington off. It landed in a corner and spat mud up the cream wall. Under her breath, I heard her mutter the worst word, the word that on no account should be uttered by me. Then she stepped out into the hall, huffing and sighing. I squashed cornflakes into a paste under my spoon and said, "So can we get one?" I was disgruntled by her hypocrisy. Children were supposed to learn by example. That's what my parents always said. I was learning that my parents said a lot of things that they didn't really mean. My mother's voice came from a cupboard under the stairs. "Get what?" I leaned forward and spoke to her backside as she knelt, excavating various items of footwear into the hallway like some ferocious shoe mole. "A calico cat!" I didn't mean my voice to sound as shouty as it did. I think it was because she was half in the cupboard, and I knew I had to raise my voice to be heard, but growing annoyance at her disinterest gave it extra volume. The excavation stopped. She appeared in the doorway. Her dark hair, normally in a tornado-proof neat bob, was splayed out at one side, her face red from the exertion, and I guessed by the look in her eyes, anger too. "A calico cat," she said in an ironed-out flat kind of way. A calico cat is the very last thing on my mind this morning. I asked her what the very first thing on her mind was. The ironed-out flatness found animation. "For God's sake, Lottie, look!" She glared at me and pointed a finger at her feet. They seemed mismatched. Not a pair. The neat court shoe on her right foot looked wrong, juxtaposed as it was against the stockinged and muddy left foot. I was reminded of a doll I'd had years ago that had two different legs.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?